Hey guys, it's Brittany. Welcome back to UnderTheRadarBooks. Today I'm going to be doing the autumn book tag, and I was actually tagged by two people. I was tagged by Amy at Shall Amy and also Rachel at The Reader and the Write. And so I knew that I had to do this tag, and of course I wanted to do it just because I love fall and I love autumn, and I love all of the Halloween stuff that comes along with it because I love scary books and I love horror, so this is a great tag for me. So the first question is, are there any books you plan on reading over the autumn season? Yes, there are tons. The first one that I'm going to get to, well, I'm currently reading The Goldfinch, which I'm about halfway through, and it's absolutely massive, so I will be finishing that one. I'm reading The Lauras by Sarah Taylor, which is also really great, and I'm just about to start It by Stephen King with a couple of other wonderful booktubers, and we're going to have a little buddy read, massive buddy read, because this book is huge, in October, and so I will be doing that. I also, these are just a couple of like some scary, creepy, dark books that I have that I would really like to get to at some point in the near future, and so those ones are The Unseen by Alexandra Sokoloff, and I got this in Edinburgh when I was there at one of the used bookstores they have, and this follows a professor at Duke University who decides to do some research about this team in 1965 who did some parapsychology things involving poltergeists, and she discovers a case where this team moved into this mansion and did lots of studies and actually had evidence of poltergeist activity, so she decides with one of her colleagues and a couple of students to move into the mansion as well and do a similar investigation as they did. But little does she know that the entire team went insane after doing that project, and they are about to embark on that same journey, so it sounds very creepy and very dark. This is an author who does really interesting sounding horror books, and I have yet to read any, so I'm super excited to get to this one so I can see if it's an author that I'm going to read everything that they've written. So I'll keep you guys posted on that one. Next up is The Graveyard Book by Neil Gaiman, and I love Neil Gaiman. He does such interesting and whimsical things with his writing. I have read this book in graphic novel form, which was excellent. If you guys haven't read it, I would highly recommend it, but I haven't read the actual novel, which seems kind of strange probably, but I definitely want to get to this. I love the illustrations that are in it. I think they're by Chris Riddell. I don't know, I might be making that up. But anyways, they are very cool. And I'm very excited to get to this, and I think it's going to be a really, really quick one since it is a middle grade novel. So this follows a young boy who grows up in a graveyard, who has this companion, kind of caregiver, who you're not really sure throughout the book whether he is alive or dead, or if he's a vampire or whatnot, but there's definitely some supernatural things at play. And the reason why he ends up at the graveyard in the first place as a baby is because someone has murdered his entire family. And so he gets wrapped up in this conspiracy about why this happened and who this person might have been who wanted to harm them and why. So it's definitely a really quick read, and I highly recommend it. Next up is a book called Mongrels by Stephen Graham Jones, and I know that this follows a small town where the majority of the families are werewolves, I want to say. I don't know too much about it, and I kind of want to keep it that way, but I've heard wonderful things about Stephen Graham Jones, and I'm really excited. It's come really highly praised, and so I'm hoping to get to it very shortly. And the last one that I just recently hauled is Security by Gina Woolsdorf, and this follows a hotel that has this top-notch security so that really high priority people and celebrities can come stay at it and know that all of them will be secure. But when they're getting the hotel ready and setting everything up, the hotel is locked down and super secure, but there happens to be a killer on the inside. So I've heard this is like a slasher film in book form, and so it's really short, and I think it'll be perfect for Halloween. Question number 2 is, September brings back to school memories. What book did you most enjoy studying, and what were your favorite and least favorite school subjects? So probably the book that I enjoyed most studying, I mean, I was one of those people who really, really loved literature class, and I loved English, and any excuse to have more reading time was great by my standards. So one of my favorite books, though, to study was definitely The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. It just sticks out in my mind, and I've probably read this 4 times now, I think. But it's just one of those things that I think I read it at just the right time, where it really showed me how important words are and how strong they are, and how something so small can pack such a powerful punch and just make you think about it so much longer afterwards. So I really think it was like a right time, right place kind of situation when I did study this one. And so my favorite subject was obviously either art or English. My least favorite subject was probably math or PE. Probably math. Question 3. October means Halloween. Do you enjoy scary books and films? Yes. If so, what are some of your favorites? So my favorite films would have to be, let's see. I think that with horror films, my biggest gripe is when they show too much and they give away the fact that it's all pretend. Like, I think showing less makes it more scary, and so I usually gravitate towards the ones that are more about a feeling and like the eeriness over the jumping out and like the gore and the blood and guts and stuff like that. So I would have to say some of my favorites are probably Babadook and The Orphanage, which is a film by Guillermo del Toro, which is in Spanish. You have to do subtitles, but it is like a really dark fairy tale, which is perfect for me, and it's very subtle and creepy, and yeah, it's just excellent. And another one that is really good is called Shiver, and I think it's on Netflix, I want to say, but it follows a young boy who encounters a feral child, and it is super creepy. I remember watching it with my dad a couple years ago, and we were just completely freaked out and like had all the lights on, and anyways, it's one that definitely sticks out on mine, so I would definitely recommend those. A couple of my favorite horror books are The Passage by Justin Cronin, which is a massive book, and it's a trilogy there. The other two are actually already released. This follows a world where trying to basically make men into weapons of mass destruction for war by injecting them with this really powerful virus, they end up turning them into these crazy creatures that resemble zombies / vampires, but not vampires in the Twilight sense, but like real deal vampires. Like, they're like bats and they can rip you to shreds in minutes. Like, they're terrifying, and they obviously start taking over the world and just destroying the human race. And this is such a large and sprawling book, even just this one on its own, that follows a very big time period. I think it's at least 100 years and bounces back and forth, and it is so good. And I just remember, I mean, it's huge, but I think I read it in like a couple days, and I cannot recommend it enough. I still don't think that it gets enough praise for how awesome it is, and I am hoping that they make a movie out of it because it is brilliant. And another one of my favorite horror books is kind of like a funny one / creepy, and that is Horror Store by Grady Hendrix. I also just read My Best Friend's Exorcism, which is his second book, and they are both fantastic. They are really creepy, but with like a little bit of funny like sarcasm to them, which is perfect for me. And so this one is modeled to look like an IKEA catalog, and it follows a young group of kids who work for this company that is obviously supposed to be IKEA, and they find out that there is like a portal to the underworld underneath the store, and it just sounds so crazy and so far-fetched, but he totally pulls it off, and I was just completely gripped by this. And there are actual sections that look like the catalog, and there's it's kind of multimedia. There's like some drawings and things like that, but here's like, it looks exactly like the catalog. So if you're looking for something really fun and creepy, I cannot recommend this enough for Halloween. You will love it, and you'll be totally gripped from start to finish. Number 4, with November, it's time for bonfire night and firework displays. What's the most exciting book you've read that really kept you gripped? So I have a couple, and the first one is The Book of Lost Things by John Connolly, which I think will always be in my top 10 favorite books of all time. And this follows a young boy whose mother passes away, and he finds a secret realm of almost like fairy tale stories, but it is so creepy and so dark. I cannot believe this is the middle grade book, but I just remember being absolutely and completely captivated by this, and I just wish more people would read it. So please pick this up. You will love it. It is genius, brilliant, and super creepy. And then also I have to mention Bird Box by Josh Malerman, which is a really well-known horror book, but it is so creepy. It follows a world where all these people start going crazy and either hurting themselves or hurting other people, and this disease or whatever it is passed on through sight. And so you have to, in this new world where there's not very many people left, you have to not go outside and not make eye contact with whatever this is. We don't know if it's a creature, we don't know if it's other people that have some sort of disease, but all we know is that it's passed through sight. So the majority of this book follows characters that are blindfolded, and you are experiencing all of these terrifying things through all of the other senses and not through sight. And it is such a genius way to write a horror book and just has you right on the edge of your seat. I remember feeling physically ill while reading this because it is just so gripping. So do not start this unless you plan to sock away a couple hours into it, but it is fantastic. Number 5, what is your favorite comfy, cozy read? And this was so easy for me, and that is I Capture the Castle by Dodie Smith. And I'm sure you know what this is about, but if you don't, it follows a young girl who lives with her older sister and her father in an old dilapidated castle, and she wants to be a writer, and her sister is obsessed with this old school kind of like Jane Austen love story that she's looking for, and it's just so charming, and the characters are so wonderful, and you just get sucked into the story. And I would love to read this again, so I'm hoping that this fall I will do a reread of this one. Question number 6, curled up with a good book, what is your hot drink of choice? I actually don't really like hot drinks. I almost always get iced coffee no matter what time it is and no matter how cold it is. The only time I'll ever get a hot drink is if we are literally walking outside and it's freezing cold. In that case, I usually get like a vanilla latte or white chocolate mocha. I like, sweet coffee. I mean, any coffee is good. So that's the only time I get hot drinks. My favorite drink is an iced white chocolate mocha. That's my drink. Number 7, any plans you're looking forward to over the next few months? I love fall and winter. We have so many birthdays around this time, and our anniversary is in October, and Christmas, and it is just such a fun time, especially with my little kids, to do Halloween and Thanksgiving and Christmas. It's just such a fun time. It's such a great time to be a family, so I'm just super excited for all of that stuff to happen. I'm excited for trick-or-treating and for getting together with loved ones and just all of the fun stuff that comes along with the holidays. So I cannot wait. And that tag was so fun to do. Thank you so much, you guys, for tagging me, and thank you to Amy Jane Smith, who created it. I think most people have done this, but if you haven't, I am tagging you right now. So if you haven't done this tag and you want to, please do it. I would love to see everybody's answers. This is such a fun one. So until next time, I hope you guys are all doing really well. Happy reading.